people don't want to do the work because when you do the work, a lot of discomfort feelings may come up. So the point is that it's the biggest trick in the universe. And we have the ability to defeat that. And we defeat it when we've suffered enough. It's amazing when you just have a problem, you don't know what you're going to do, and then you go into the shower, or you do go into the garden, and all of a sudden you're like, I know exactly what to do. And it's the solution is so amazingly complete that it's like, why do we rely on anything except for that inner teacher, that inner guide? It's just the way life is, let it go. Got to let it go. I eventually had a spiritual awakening where I realized that I was not following what I knew was right. I was following the mental mind, and that it was time to tap into the intuitive.
That was Kerry Clasby, and you're listening to The Regenerative Journey.
G'day, I'm your host Charlie Arnott, an 8th generational Australian regenerative farmer. And in this podcast series, I'll be diving deep and exploring my guests' unique perspectives on the world so you can apply their experience and knowledge to cultivate your own transition to a more regenerative way of life.
Welcome to The Regenerative Journey with your host, Charlie Arnott.
G'day, welcome to this episode of The Regenerative Journey. This week it is with Kerry Clasby, or Karen as she likes to be known now. She's reclaimed her original name, which I think is awesome. So Karen and I sat down. I met her in 2017. Angelica and I and Lila were over there for a couple of months in December 2017. Lordy was born over there in the United States. That's a whole nother story. But in that process of floods and fires and smoke and all sorts of crazy elemental things going on, I met Karen, at her Malibu Fig Ranch. It's in Malibu. We literally just saw a roadside stall or a sign saying, fruit and veg, drove up the road, met her, interviewed her with Jack. Jack was a biodynamic. He passed away a couple of years ago. Jack was an amazing biodynamic educator who Kerry had Jack working there for some time. He would run workshops, and we actually walked in one day. He was doing a wonderful biodynamic composting workshop, which we joined in. So I interviewed Kerry and Jack all those years ago. It's on YouTube somewhere before the podcast. It was just a bit of a random sit down, a bit of a powwow. And then I lined up this interview with her last year. So 2024 in July, we're over there. And towards the end of our month, our family had over there in the States. We caught up with Karen back at Malibu Fig Ranch. A lot had happened, fires, destruction, challenges, but she is such an amazing woman, I have to say. I learned so much from her. She's so grounded. We talked about all sorts of lovely, crazy things, and what an intellect, what a legend, and so grateful to have caught up with her after all those years, 2017 to 2024. All those years, 7 years of not seeing Karen, and just a lovely, lovely human. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Kerry Clasby. Karen Clasby on The Regenerative Journey. Karen Clasby, welcome to The Regenerative Journey, and ignore any beeps that come out of my computer, and welcome to your wonderful farm here at Malibu, which when we were here 6.5 years ago,
Right before the Woolsey fires,
the shit went down. Actually, we were here when the fires were on, but you didn't get hammered. I want to get to that bit. It was also called, what did you
the Thomas fires. You were here for the Thomas fire. All these fires were all radioactive fires that are really from the 5G, from these cables that they're putting down, and they're not saying it. And they can't handle the amount of electrical power. These are spectrums that we're not supposed to be utilizing because it's not. We need full spectrum light.
Yeah.
When you isolate a spectrum, it creates an inflammatory product that we're subject to, a toxin. And so this 5G, 3G, 2G, 4G, they have not been diligent about the studies on it. They've hidden studies. It's it's another poison that we need to hack in order to flourish. I mean, the amount of sickness and chronic diseases. We have an epidemic, and this has begun, especially in the last 50 years. And there's a whole list of reasons of poisons that we're subject to. Now, evolutionary-wise, we've been here for millions of years, so we can hack it, but we need to be transparent about exactly what we're dealing with in technology, because the technology is very powerful. For the first time, we're going to be able to, where Rudolf Steiner and Goethe and this small group of men and women who were spiritual and interested in the natural law, they codified so many things. Well, now, like this podcast can go worldwide. And that's an amazing thing, because we are in the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about transparency. It's all about breaking out of the old dysfunctional paradigms. So it's the future is bright, but the moment is all that matters.
Which you keep reminding me of, which is good, because I often go forward and back many times in a second.
Well, when you are going against the intuitive timing of life, by tapping into your little pea brain, you actually are putting things that don't belong in the moment. That there is a plan, that there is a healing process that can happen to us and to the world, that we can be help to be a facilitator as by us doing the work. People don't want to do the work, because when you do the work, a lot of discomfort feelings may come up. The fight or flight brain, is struggling to keep its hold on us. And this fight or flight brain is not your friend. It's actually your frenemy. It appears as your friend, comes in with solutions, and see that hawk going down to get these little rabbits?
Where?
He just flew down, yeah.
The rabbit's down the scrub down there.
You can hear it. Now you'll hear the ground squirrels chirping because they know the raptors are above.
Oh, that's a warning.
That's the warning. Those aren't birds. Those are raptors that are flying in, and the ground squirrels are. Now that's an amazing thing right there. Evolutionary-wise, they chirp to each other and it signals danger. And the raptors come in anyway and try to pluck whatever they can.
Well, I guess that's all about the survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
The ones that are a bit slow, they get the genetics.
Yeah. But I'm saying the communication, just like us, there's quantum entanglement. Now, you came here 6.5 years ago, before the devastation of the fires, before the all of man's well-laid plans became decimated by the nature's aberration. And I say it's an aberration because, number one, we should be planting way more. The hydrology has been affected because we aren't replanting. We aren't practicing the principles of regeneration all over. Then we've got, radioactive electrical lines and 5G lines that are also happening. So these fires are self-evident why they are beginning. So you came here, and you and I have been quantumly entangled, right? Because quantum medicine is the future. We're going beyond the chemical medicine, biological medicine, into quantum medicine, the physics. So we are connected. I don't know if you've ever seen that amazing study that they did with the onion, where they cut the onion in half, and they stimulate the growth on one side of the onion with the electrical probes, and the other side of the onion starts to grow in the exact same spot. When they put a glass between it, it stops it. When they put a crystal between it, it accelerates it.
Wow.
So we as humans, we are quantumly entangled. Your forefathers, your ancestors, the body of what the anthroposophists would call the body of Christ, is that connection between all of us. And so you are coming back now, and Jack has passed, but he's still with us. And because we know that there's a eternal nature to us, that energy just doesn't get obliterated. It lives on forever. And so this quantum entanglement is what the anthroposophists knew about, that as we do what's right, it is felt, and makes a difference in, just like that pebble into the ocean, into the water. It spreads out and goes on. So when you are listening to the mental mind, Mr. Mental, he's not your friend. He'll be with you till the end. I won't listen to him today. Mr. Intuition guides my way. So we'll sit for a few minutes, and we'll practice a little exercise that helps us to get out of the mental mind and to drop in to our spiritual, intuitive mind.
Yeah, cool. So we're gonna everyone listening and watching.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this. This is great.
Okay, so just put your fingertips together and gently, without trying, bring your awareness to the magnets in your fingertips. Your hands are relaxed, and you are too. You're present, and you're here, but relaxed, and you can hear the birds and the sounds of the day. You feel the breeze going through. And just like by becoming aware, you hear the dog barking. By becoming present and aware, we feel our fingertips and we feel the warmth in them. And then you notice that the mind is a bag of tricks, right? So it's going to try to hijack us away from just being present. Just feel your feet on the ground and your sitting bones on the chair. And stay with the birds. If you can't hear the birds, you're in your head. And there's nothing in your head except the past and the future. The past with your regrets and your mistakes, and the future with its worries. So we stay present because we know that the answers, the realizations, come by being out of the monkey mind, by being out of the reactive mind. And your hands will be warm. If you try too hard, they'll get tingly. If you start thinking, they get cold. So it's like yoga, if you're not present, you fall over doing the poses. So we just sit here quietly, and we'll do our 3 breaths, and we'll breathe in deeply and hold it for 9 seconds and then release. And we'll do that 3 times together, and being aware of our fingertips at the same time, watching the mind. Any thoughts that come, we let it go down the thought stream and out to the Pacific Ocean to get pulverized by a big wave. And then we stay here, shifting out of the mind into the now. And when we finish with our 3rd breath, we'll just take a big stretch. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't forget your fingertips. 2. And 3. Breathe out. Then take a little stretch. Say a little prayer. And let it all go.
Awesome.
Now you can come back to this awareness all day, right? You're in your car, you're getting lost, caught up in your head, in the mental mind, to come back to the present. And the breathing and the hands are just a technique to keep us present. So it's a commitment of your soul to, why would you tap into your little pea brain when you can bring down the forces of the intelligence of the universe.
Well, as you said before, off camera, that's the reptilian mind, the that's its purpose was fight or flight, which is one would argue in the now, but it's about survival, not about creativity, not about the expansion of one's consciousness. It's just you're gonna live or die right now. Mm-hmm. Here's a burst of adrenaline or cortisol or something, and get the fuck out of here,
And it's usually perceived threats.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Because if you're in a perceived threat, you can't find the intuitive solutions. The mental mind scripts things. That's why I was saying in the beginning, you have a tenant in your head that doesn't pay any rent and is looking to take over the house. Some people call it a rodent that you've allowed, and now it's
running around your head. I did a great thing last year, and I've been a kept on doing it, and it's I'm gonna forget the name of it now. It was something intelligence. It's terrible. And it was a little program I followed. It was about saboteurs, and we have 9. And the one that runs the show is the judge.
Oh, yeah.
And his 8 little followers.
And minions.
Minions who collaborate with the judge.
Right.
And basically direct traffic, which is
right.
All, yeah. So it's
the biggest lie of the whole world is that those thoughts are you.
Yeah, that's right.
That you are creating these destructive thoughts, that you have these crazy sexual thoughts. That no. Those are coming through you and using the I word. I want, I need, I couldn't, I'm hurt.
Yep.
And then in that position of defensiveness, in that position of perceived threats, you make decisions in your life and you waste the amazing opportunity that we have to be out of that emotional maelstrom, which never helped us. And so if people can see that this is the lie, that this idea, like it's no big deal to be spreading chemicals on your food, or that it's no problem to be, I mean, when you're serving food that's not organic and beyond organic, because even now the organic standards have been dropped so low, you're just introducing invisible poisons that are not being spoken about. So now we've got that to deal with. So the point is that it's the biggest trick in the universe. And we have the ability to defeat that. And we defeat it when we've suffered enough.
And that's what it is, isn't it? And there's been a theme, and I've kind of gone there because I wanted to explore that with my guests in the last month, is exactly that. The challenges are the things that are the deflection points that essentially we have a choice. We either choose to use them as a lesson or not.
Right.
And if we choose not to use them as a lesson, it can be very defeating and be very detrimental to us. And then the next challenge we come along may just be a little more challenging because we're not building on the experiences. So, and I want
the universe has a way of dragging you into your lessons, whether you... I mean, we see that too with politicians or movie stars where, okay, you don't want to change, then we'll bring it so that the sins will be uncovered. From Donald Trump to Kamala to Biden there's no secrets, especially now, which is great. Yeah, so we're meant to be human beings. We're not meant to be mammals. We're meant to overcome the destructive nature.
A primitive kind of mind. Yeah. It's interesting that you even demarcate, and it makes a lot of sense because, as Steiner and others talk about the mineral kingdom, and then the etheric, which is kind of the plants, and then the astral, which is the animals, which is what some would argue is a hierarchy up from the etheric, and then we being the I am, we're kind of, I don't like saying it, above it, but we're kind of separate from that, and that gives us our individuality. So But you put that into
gives
a
us the
mammalian.
consciousness.
Yes.
And Steiner called it the Christ consciousness,
Yeah.
but it could be the Buddha consciousness. It could be.
Yeah.
But that consciousness, we have the capability. Our mitochondria are set up to be able to have receptor sites for spirit, for the ether, as they said, and for the intuitive understandings that surpass. These intuitive understandings surpass the intellectual knowledge. I mean, it's amazing when you just have a problem, you don't know what you're going to do, and then you go into the shower, or you do go into the garden, and all of a sudden you're like, I know exactly what to do. And it's the solution is so amazingly complete that it's like, why do we rely on anything except for that inner teacher, that inner guide?
Our default is that primitive mind, isn't it? Is that because we day one, and as we grow,
Yes, we needed a protective source.
Yeah, that keeps us alive, which is kind of handy.
Correct. But we don't have dinosaurs chasing us anymore.
No.
Nor lions. Most of us, they say, came from East Africa, and then we expanded outward. So we don't, especially the Northern Europeans, they didn't have that daily threat of the lion or the predator coming in. But we lived it. We live it. If you talk to people, their fears are visceral, and that's the mental mind.
That's all perspective, isn't it?
It is. And it's what Steiner talked about. He said intuition as the spiritual path. Don't, follow what I did. And so that's the problem with religions. Instead of relying on your own intuitive knowing, which we all have the capability, we all have the receptor sites for Holy Spirit or Christ consciousness or consciousness. We rely on something other than that.
So trauma in our lives kind of does it reinforce the value, if I can use that word, of the primitive mind? Because
yes, over and over again.
Yeah.
It's as if it's still happening. Resentment, trauma, is because that is mental mind is bringing it up for look-alike situations, which, like a dog or like anything, it's a technique that the universe put in us so that we would be protected. But it certainly loses its efficacy because we don't have those threats. So what's the word? What do the cows do when they're chewing their cud over and over again?
They ruminate. They ruminate.
Rumination.
They chew their cud.
It's a rumination.
Part of the rumination, yeah.
Right. So that's a rumination thing. And the key is to sit still and to do the meditation. And what will happen is whatever's lodged in there will start to bubble to the surface and be freed. So, if you're doing therapy, the therapy becomes even more effective because the angels and saints and whatever the healing spirit of the universe is, it knows where it needs to go. The light knows where to cast out the darkness. You don't have to do anything. And Jesus spoke about this. He said, you can't change 1 meter of your stature. You can't change one gray hair on your head. He said, the Father within you will doeth the work. And I think in Aramaic, it really means the Spirit within you will do the work. And so, the hardline fundamentalists converted that into something else. But there is a healing spirit that we have access to. And the mental mind's always trying to block it because, once the light comes in, those guys are gone. Their power is their attachment to us. They're like parasites. It's gone.
Shine a light. I heard
Shine a light. It's true.
No,
we are light beings. We actually give off light.
Yeah.
We give off ultraviolet. We give out the full spectrum sunlight within us. That's why we were able to hibernate. Because in the hibernation, we're giving off our own energy. That's why cold therapy is so effective.
Yeah.
Because it forces us to give off our own light. And we also can store the light by early morning sunlight, getting your eyeballs and full skin in the game, and having all of those cholesterol being transformed into amazing hormones that regulate all the chemical processes and do the work.
Cholesterol. That's evil.
the circadian rhythm that we are always interfering with. So this is an extension of that, where we are encouraging the proliferation of the beneficials, and we practice the principles that bring us the greatest. I mean, these animals, they're manufacturing sites. They take the grasses. We can't eat the grasses and get the DHA out of it. These animals can take the grasses, and they go through the whole rumination process, and they extract everything out of it, and they push it off into their milk, and it's in the milk, and the beneficials. Their stomachs are lined with so much magical probiotics, and it goes into the poop, and then we put the poop onto the ground. You see, our biodynamic compost program. The poop goes into the ground. This farm has been organic since 1954, and it has not been contaminated by glyphosate and all of those chemicals so we just keep on loading more and more amazing bugs into the soil. People don't realize, I know you do, we don't feed the plants. The bugs in the soil feed the plants. Just like we are, when you're eating the food you're eating, you're not feeding yourself, you're feeding the bugs in our tummy. Our tummy is basically a tube that goes from your mouth to your butt. And in that tube live all of these magical colonies that when you have your yogurt or whatever, it proliferates more magical probiotics. And those break down the food, and then they go into our bloodstream and into the body as needed. So we have to understand that unless you've got these soil practices down, you are just eating nutrient deficient foods. And it's really photosynthesis, right? The plant has the magic of being able to reach into the heavens, convert that into carbohydrates so that the bugs underneath go yummy, and they all eat them, and then they poop out the magical chemicals, and then the plant sucks them up. So it's a poop game. No, it's a cycle of life. I'm sure you got plenty of poop there. How many acres you have there in Australia?
We got 5,000 there.
5,000 only?
Yeah. We're not as intensive as you are here.
Yeah.
54, was it 1954 organic? Was there a
1954?
54. Was there I know it's different.
Alice Cunningham and George Cunningham.
Yeah.
He was a music teacher and had a music store in Santa Monica. She was a Minnesota farm girl. They had 3 sons. They moved out here for her to be able to have orchards and plantings. And she was committed to doing it the right way. And thank God. This is an incredible jewel, and my landlords, the Sterlings, have allowed me to have a sweetheart tenant deal where this farm I can develop this farm and turn it into the magic that it deserves, which is sort of a protected emerald jewel amongst a whole bunch of rocks, because these farms are being lost, and we need to bring back the proliferation of our small family organic farms, regenerative, bring it back so that we can thrive.
Because for those who haven't been here, which is probably most people, what we're looking at is, how many acres have you got here where you're looking after?
About 16.
16. And you've got some fruit, money veggies. What are those trees over there, those long, tall ones? Are they, is that hedge?
Ficus.
Okay.
We have figs, we have
but they're
oranges.
They're not the edible ones over there.
No. We have figs, oranges,
olives,
avocados, olives, guava, cherimoya, but we lost a lot in the fires. We lost mulberries, 100-year-old trees. No, 1954, so 75-year-old trees. And now we're bringing it back. We lost all of our irrigation. We're now burying the irrigation and making it so that it's we do a lot of cover crop. Cover crop is key because when you have cover crop, you have a whole group of friends that are bringing carbohydrates into the bugs in the soil without you even doing anything. So you can see how we're doing the sprinkles up on posts so that all of the cover crop will be. So we're planting our tomatoes amongst the cover crop so that creates the proliferation of the bugs, which equals more nutrient density, and that's the way to go.
You're using biodynamics still, because when I
all
just
biodynamic.
bit of backstory. So for those who don't know, and which again is probably most people, we met because Angelica and I were in the States for 2 months. With Lordy, our son was born over here, and we did a lot of trekking up and down the Pacific Highway here. Is that what it's called, Pacific Highway?
Yeah, PCH, Pacific Coast Highway.
Between Ventura and Santa Monica and so on. We came across your farm because you had the sign out the front. It's opposite a place we used to go, that organic grocery store over the road there, and which we were always on the hunt for any decent food anywhere. And we came in here, we met you, we met Jack, and because we were here for 2 months and we drove past nearly every other day, we would drop in often. One day, Lila and I turned up and Jack was doing a little composting demo up there, which is awesome.
Every Tuesday we do the compost.
Yeah, well, it must have been a Tuesday, and then I interviewed you and Jack here just over there.
Yeah.
On a chair, on a couple of chairs you had, which was awesome, which I think are on YouTube somewhere. And Jack had a lot to do with One Gun Ranch, didn't he? He was the biodynamic man there, which I went to see a few times and it was an informal consult really. However, what struck me back then was how much love was being put in here, the wonderful people you had, and then when we turned up literally 3 weeks ago and drove in, I could see the change. You had the fires since. The house is gone. The house went in the fire.
Yeah, house, offices, trucks, family, memorabilia, everything. I stayed, and I was on the roof wetting it down. And
did you leave it? You must have left at one point, otherwise you'd have gone.
No, I was here the whole time.
So you saw that you were here when the house went up?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And it was amazing because it's just the way life is, let it go. Got to let it go.
Yeah.
So I had gone to Waldorf teacher training, and when I was there, I was running a homeschooling Waldorf school, and we did our farming, and Jack pulled up, 25, 30 years ago with a dump truck full of biodynamic compost, and so we did our farm program at the other farm that I was working at, that I was running the farm program at. And out of that amazing compost, I began an organic distribution business to chefs, where they were buying my produce, and where I was also had a co-op with other farmers that I knew had the right growing practices. So that's how it began 25 or 30 years ago.
I want to go probably back a little bit further than that. We will get back to the farm, and anywhere this goes is awesome. Just FYI, anyone who's doing that meditation, just try not to do it when you're driving. Okay, a lot of people listen to podcasts. Maybe just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, you can do that meditation for 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah, we had a lovely one when we got here. He sat me down. We had a little chat and then a little sit down, which was really good prep for that. Well,
the thing is, it's I try to do it before anything so that I am being my best self. My best self, not my lower self.
Your best version of yourself.
Version of myself comes through.
Let's go back to so many threads we could take there, but let's go back to day one when Karen, Karen. I knew you as Kerry when you was here those years ago.
My nickname,
and you're taking it back. You're taking your proper name back, which I think is awesome. Where did you appear in the world? Where
I was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, to a mother who was from Nova Scotia, Canada, a farm girl who had come to the States when she was 12, and a son of Irish immigrants, my father. So she was half Irish and half Scottish Catholic, and he was all Irish Catholic from the west coast of Ireland, and she was from, originally my ancestors were the Hebrides, the island of Oost in off the coast of Scotland, and my paternal grandparents were from Connemara, from the west of Ireland, and they had immigrated to Boston. And then I grew up in suburban Boston. I went to college in Boston, and I married a man from Boston, and I had 2 sons. And I eventually had a spiritual awakening where I realized that I was not following what I knew was right. I was following the mental mind, and that it was time to tap into the intuitive. And so I was attracted to Steiner, who said, intuition as the spiritual path. And I began studying Steiner and following the principles. And I was homeschooling my children, and I was also growing my own food. And I use biodynamic compost, and I use those principles for growing and to understand the magical, ancient. How they knew, it was just amazing. It's amazing. And so I've been practicing that type of growing and growing my own food and being in that community ever since. I would not say, the anthroposophical community per se, although I do appreciate it, but more the biodynamic, especially the gardening, the farming.
Let's go back. So I'm interested in your childhood. So you were in Boston, so you weren't on a farm. Is that right? Fair to say?
No, but my grandfather and grandmother had moved to Cambridge, Mass. They had a fire when my mother was 12. My grandfather had grown up in Cambridge. And my grandmother came down to go to nursing school at Harvard. And they met at the Boston Marathon around 1920. And my great-grandmother, Catherine Parks McIsaac, said, if you move up to Nova Scotia, you and your new husband, you will inherit the farm. So they went up. It was about 1,200 acres at the time. And my grandfather, who was a builder, built a farmhouse and a farm stand and a gas station up on the Cabot Trail. They spoke, my grandmother, great-grandmother, and grandmother spoke Gaelic, Scottish Gaelic. And my grandfather was, probably since the Civil War, they were in Cambridge, Mass. So when my mother was 12 years old, they were ice skating out of the pond in front of the farmhouse, and they heard an explosion, and they looked up, and they had gotten dynamite caps in the coal that they had got from the Sydney mines. So the farmhouse burned to the ground Christmas time. Around the same time, 75 years later, I watched my farmhouse burn to the ground here.
How did those caps go off? Like, how do they go off?
Well, they had a fireplace in the fire while they were ice skating, and the coal had a couple of dynamite caps in it.
Oh, I'm with you. The coal.
So they heard an explosion, and they watched the house burn to the ground.
Up. Oh my God!
12 years old, 1945.
And that was your grandparents' house?
No, that was my grandparents' house, and my mother was 12, and they moved to Boston.
Mm.
And then on the other side, my father was born in Boston. My grandmother was a 16-year-old immigrant, came over from Ireland and met my grandfather in Boston, who was lived 2 miles or 3 miles away from her home in Ireland. Not coincidentally, but that was the, post-potato famine. There were no jobs in Ireland, so. And then she had 6 children, and the oldest was my dad, and my mom and dad met down in Hyannisport on Cape Cod, which I ended up living in years later. So I grew up in suburban Boston. My father went to be studied English and poetry, and then he went and became a CPA and ran companies. And in the 128 technology place, my mother got a master's in teaching. She went to teachers college. She was a music teacher, and then she became a special needs teacher. And then they had 6 children, and I have 5 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest, and I went to Boston College, and then I worked at IBM and Xerox and Wang Labs, and
Doing what?
Selling, doing marketing and sales. And then I had met my husband in college down in Hyannisport, and we got married around when I was about 25 or 26, and then I had 2 sons, and sort of woke up around that time and realized that I wanted more out of my life. So I began meditating. And
So just on that, what was the catalyst for the wake up?
well, they call it postpartum depression.
Okay.
But it was really just, I think the spiritual awakening is that you have a mental construct of your life and of how things are going to go and what you want. And when you start achieving these goals, it's not giving you the fulfillment that you believed, that the mental mind told you, those thoughts like getting married and having children and a family and the jobs you were in, that was going to make you happy. And then there's a realization that there's another way, and that the mental mind is lying to you.
And what was there? Was there an event? Was there a
The birth of my first son.
Okay, that was the wake up.
It was like I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't, I had a job where I was making 6 figures, 38 years ago, 40 years ago. And I didn't want to go back into that paradigm. It suddenly became meaningless to me. And so...
Is that because you had a child, as in, you're a mother, a different purpose in life? Were you attracted to being a mother and that nurturing, or were you pushing back on the
I was attracted to doing... I realized that I had come into this depression and I came into this crisis because I had been ignoring my intuition. And when I began to follow the intuition, not the compromising or the mental mind or the ideas in my head, but just what is right to do in the now. And we always know it. And then we believe the mental mind that tells us, don't do that because of this, or the fear, or anxiety, or the compromises, people won't like it, you've made these agreements. And I woke up and realized that I needed to find that truth. So I began to reach out into therapy, into, Quakerism and Judaism, Catholicism, Buddhism, to find the answers. And over again, what resoundingly was clear was that being still and meditating, which was against my nature. My nature was to get the job done and keep on going and be very busy. And so I started to cultivate the practice of meditation, and I began to bring a lot of the trauma started to come up. And I realized the trauma had occurred because I had resented whatever the situation was, that no one had ever hurt me, that I had hurt myself by my reacting to whatever situation, and that's how it became a trauma. And that's the good news, because then you don't have to blame anybody or have them to make amends, or although I did, I apologized for resenting my mother and hating my father, and they were kind of befuddled, like, what? But of course, we all know as parents that you're dealing with a reptilian brain when it starts around 12 or 13 years old. And so that had been my downfall. And so then I began the reclamation and became like the phoenix coming out of the ashes. And then my husband and I had developed a hotel development company, a franchise development company. Mostly I was taking care of the children, and I would be helping in that part-time, and we had an opportunity to move to California, and so we did. So we developed hotel franchises, and we made a lot of money, and then we developed our own hotel, and then the marriage basically fell apart because I had changed the nature of the agreement. and I had become a different person. So he didn't want that model, so he moved along.
When you say agreement, the sort of the spoken or unspoken
Yeah.
not arrangement, but
Yeah.
the
Mental support.
yeah.
Support of
The
each other's
relationship.
mental.
Yeah. How did that what did that look like? What were the changes that you made that were not in line with the original contract day to day?
I stopped fighting. I started to be calm, and I started to speak up to truth. Speak my truth, whether that was the dysfunction in his family or the dysfunction in my family, the dysfunction in parenting, or disagreements that I would have. And I didn't fight. I would just establish that as the truth. And I think it felt that he felt like he wasn't getting the support that he wanted. So he opted for different models.
Which is interesting, and not being critical. It's interesting that one might, from the outside, look at that and go, well, that's a positive, not fighting, or wanting to resolve things or talk things through. But I can understand how that's kind of beside the point. If it's different to the original understanding and the original environment in which a relationship is created, it doesn't, a change. It's more about the change than what it turned into.
Well, I think that for many people, they want their relationship, the other person, to be supportive of their emotional nature and their decision making, their reactive decision making. And when you say, like, I don't agree with that, it feels very cold. And I understand.
Is that all about delivery?
No.
No.
No, I think it's just about the reality. I think that some people, love to live by truth, and other people love to live by emotions. And
Can they coexist? Can someone be truthful but be emotive?
I think they're opposites.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm not talking about not having feelings. I'm just talking about emotional reacting. And I mean, really, the spiritual awakening is all about understanding your motivations. What are you listening to? What are you following? That's where your values begin. Are you doing what's right, or are you choosing the reactive way?
Regenerative Journey is brought to you by Regrarians. They're the creators of the Regrarians Open Consultancy, its ROC programs, a globally respected platform supporting farmers and land managers across the world to regenerate their landscapes and livelihoods. Now, the ROC program is now open for registrations through to October 2025, with in-person and online consultancies planned across Europe. And by the way, I interviewed Darren for episode 37 back in, I think, 2021. And Darren Doherty, the principal there at Regenerative, is an absolute genius at pulling together all the facets of holistic farm management and landscape function into this program. He's an absolute genius. He's a lovely bloke. And I couldn't encourage you more to get onto their website, learn more and register at regrarians.org/ROC-Europe-2025. And don't forget, subscribe and rate and review this episode on your favourite podcast platform. We'd very much appreciate that. And you're a very different person now then.
Yeah.
What if you'd kept on down that path? I know it's a hypothetical, but I don't know. Where do you think you'd have ended up? Would you have ended up? You wouldn't be here.
I don't think you could.
Could you see where you were going? Put it that way.
Well, I was obviously not. It wasn't tenable for me anymore. I couldn't continue to live the way I was living.
And your sons, they what age were they when all that kind of happened?
The divorce happened when they were about 12 or 13. People believe certain things, and there's no changing them out of their beliefs. And it's a crisis that brings you to be willing to take a look at truth. Because, beliefs are the substitute for living by truth. And the reason we glom onto these beliefs when we know they're not true is because we don't want to face that our beliefs, the falling in love, that as if that will do it, as if that'll make you happy. The work is going to make you happy. Success, in India, one of the things that happens is that they can't overcome their poverty. And so they never realize, like, oh, it doesn't matter. The poverty isn't what's making me unhappy. I say to people, how is your life? On a scale of 1 to 10, how is your life? And always they come back with 2 things that are causing them consternation, or that's causing them to not be a 10. What do you think they are?
Regret, maybe?
Money.
Oh, yeah, financial stress.
And relationship.
Okay.
It's like the right person would make the difference.
Okay, have enough more money in the bank account.
Now, how can you say to someone that it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank account? Take a look around at the Bill Gateses of the world.
Well, this part of the world, Malibu might be a good example. Not that I know a whole lot of people.
It's a huge example.
Yeah.
So take a look around. We know logically that money's not going to do it, and we know logically that another person can't complete us. However, we pursue that till our graves as humans. And so at some point you have to make a decision that you don't want to live by these false beliefs anymore, these mental constructs. And then that's when the shock of it and the pain, discomfort begins. And then it's a question of whether you want to continue on that path. And I don't blame people who don't go on that path. I don't have any judgment for that, because I know it's not easy. Mm. You have to sit quietly and separate from that nature. And that nature doesn't want to go. It goes kicking and screaming.
So have you got any tips on, I'm glad you highlighted the money and the relationships thing, because how any tips on how one can address those 2 issues and this is not something that someone can just go, oh.
No, but I had a
bingo.
young person come to me yesterday.
Yeah.
And she said she's having a baby and she's having jealous feelings about the relationship, et cetera, et cetera. And my question was, okay, what is your commitment to your path of truth and intuition? And she said, I've been part-time. And my position is that it's not going to work. Because the very thing that tells you to get out of the chair from meditating is the mental mind. The very thing that, like you said something that Gandhi or someone said, I've got a very busy day ahead of me. I don't have time to meditate. So I think I'll do double. Do an hour.
That's right.
Or it was advice from some sage
you
don't have time to meditate for 20 minutes, then you do an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah.
So for her, the 2 questions are like, what are you doing that you know you shouldn't be doing? And what do you know you're supposed to be doing that you're not? That's it. Because I don't know what's right for you, John Charles. I only know what's right for me to do. Mm. Now, I can listen to what you say, and I can say, like, well, that's the voice of the mental mind, right? I need, I want, I should is the word. So you can hear in someone else what they're listening to, but if they're not open to, admitting that they're the cause of their pain, they're the cause of their discomfort, then there's their choices. I mean, because there's only now. There's no past, and there is no future. Have you ever been to the future?
Only in my mind, of
right?
Course.
And those plans are a joke. When you asked to schedule this, I was like, okay, and then you said something, and I said, there is no future.
I said, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. There's no future, grasshopper. If you showed up today, it was like, great. If you didn't, I'm not believing in the future.
Yeah.
Now, it's nice to say, like, hey, let's see how Friday works, or whatever, which is what you did. And then when you're telling me you're late, it's like, there's no such thing, dude. You're either following your intuition and you're coming at the right time, or you're following Mr. Mental and you're under duress and pressure and fear and trepidation and guilt and shame. And I mean, forget that.
No, but you know what? It's interesting.
Or enjoy it.
Well, it's interesting you made that point because
you're choosing it because you want it.
Yeah.
Go ahead at that point.
No, just the point about being late. So that was kind of my response to myself because so that was chastising myself in some way for being late because I made a decision to wait at the hotel to get a coffee, not knowing that they were going to get it wrong twice, and then it was 25 minutes before.
Okay, so you said you're chastising yourself.
Well, not knowing you well enough to go, oh, she's not going to mind. I mean, I should have got that given what you said the day before.
But what do you mean you chastised yourself?
Well, I guess my response I was going, oh, you fool.
Who was saying that? You
me.
Or the mental mind?
Oh, the mental mind. Yeah, my judge was
instead of saying I, you say the mental mind.
The judge was
trying to mess with me.
That's right.
It was trying to bring some weird feelings about it, and then I spoke out of that mental mind.
Yeah.
Because the more that you identify with it and own it, the less that it will become an alien, it is.
Yeah.
The reptilian alien lies. So the question was, what told you to stay and get the coffee? That's where you start. When this woman called me and she's like, oh, I'm in this terror. I tried for 14 hours or something to not listen to the jealousy or whatever. I'm like, it happens long before that. It's a commitment to defeat this voice, to realize when it's fucking with you.
So all
day long, the mind is a bag of tricks. All day long, it's trying to get you out of the present, into the future, into its plans, into its what's that word? What's the Hebrew word for little mishigosh? I think there's a word for like mischief. Yeah, it's just it's just an interference field.
And your antidote to that is your practice of meditation, which might be 20 minutes. It might be a little 3-minute pause in a scenario. It grounds you.
Well, once you realize you're dealing with the enemy.
Yeah.
And it's not resenting the enemy or hating the enemy, reacting to the enemy. It's just the realization like, oh, I've got this, I've been believing this thing is my friend. I've got this enemy wreaking havoc. And it's like, okay, there's nothing else but defeating that.
What I found doing this practice there before, when the sort of foundational learnings are literally naming the nine saboteurs and the judge being the king of them all. And you do a little test. It's really interesting. And I'm an avoider pleaser, which is really interesting because they're the opposite, but they work in hand, which really fucks you up.
Well, it's the way that you as a child were able to navigate to get your needs met.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's, that doesn't help you.
Oh, shit, no.
And here's the worst part about it is that you're just bringing down terrible karma on yourself. And you're creating all kinds of blocks because the universe gives you what you want.
Yeah.
And if you want the intuitive, the abundance and prosperity and the Hakuna Matata is here. But you're going to have to stand up to the feelings within yourself. The guilt, the shame, the, not pleasing everybody.
And actually, one of the great little tactics is to name it, like give it a name and actually refer to it and go, sorry, mate, I'm not listening to you today. You're gone, or actually laughing at it. And I mean, it's the acknowledging of go. Oh, there it goes again. There's my little judge, just having a bit of a chat.
Pardon me? There's a little judge, yeah.
Yeah, a little judge, and actually
you name it
and call it out. And
exactly.
Go, and then which is
that's the first step.
Yeah, that's right.
Dwelling in the objective Christ consciousness. Whether you call it the Buddhist, whatever the kind, dwelling just in a metaphysical, watching the movie instead of being the amoeba on the slide plate where you're just reacting to everything like, oh my God, I'm dreading this and hating that. That's what happened when you first came on, my employee, my coworker.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I said to her, I had given her a packet of sardines yesterday, and it has a wrapper. And so I gave it to her for her lunch. So I came down today, and the wrapper was on the ground. And I thought it was so fascinating because I knew maybe an animal had pulled it out of the trash or something. So I said, look at this wrapper's all the way over here. Look at this, Lydia. So she thought I was yelling at her for the trash.
Jump to that. Yeah.
So she jumped into that reactive mode. And then it went downhill from there because there was no saying to her that I was not angry, but you have to wait until the person's receptive and open and you can clear out that interference field. So it's very important to be in that metaphysical objective state so that you can do remote viewing, like to read the room. Something will come to me and say, she's ready. And I'll go down and say, can you talk? And get her to see. Do you see how this went down the rabbit hole of reacting? Now, she's having troubles at home, so it's not anything to do with me. It never is. It's never personal. It's their own issue. You could be mental or emotional. I could have been reactive and angry and like, what's this rapper doing here? And then she would have gone down the same reactive hole, but I wasn't. So it's just that she's believing a mental construct. Now, that voice is talking to her all day long. It's getting her to feel hurt. It's getting her to feel misunderstood. It's a bag of tricks, that thing. But in understanding how this thing works and having that intuitive awareness, you're able to help manage people. You're able to raise the water table. You're able to help them be defeated themselves.
And I guess all you can do is create the opportunity and the environment for that to take place, for them to
feel safe.
Feel safe, look in the mirror, whatever.
But I want them to be their best self. I meditated with her this morning. I tried to, and she left. We did, actually, that's not true. We did for about 10 minutes. But I could see she was upset when she came, so I am constantly inviting them into the situation of being able to meditate. Because when you have employees that aren't their best selves, it's coming out into their work. And it wreaks havoc in their lives and in their work life, too. So eventually they're feeling persecuted. The mental mind is a bag of tricks. It's always going to try to get people to be separate from each other, to view each other as enemies, because that's the reactive mind. That's the evolutionary protection that there's a threat.
I listened to a great podcast last year sometime, and it talks about in trauma and as a child, this is not, new stuff, but I guess this part of it was that as a child, we protect ourselves by creating a persona or attaching meaning to an event. But it's not just about, like, say you get in strife from your dad, right? And he's yelling and screaming and because you've done something that you thought was fun and whatever. And then you attach meaning to that event. And then that then becomes a bit of a guidepost for the rest of your life. You go, well, if I do this, then that'll happen. And I then create.
Unconsciously, this is all going on.
That's it.
The mind is all subliminal, behind the scenes.
That's right. And we actually, this person talked about, from a molecular and maybe a quantum point of view, we actually set. You want some water? You got water?
No.
You're good?
Go ahead, yeah.
You create, in that moment, a version of yourself, like almost another entity, that you then, I'm going to call it a persona, that you then draw on. So you create it as a child as a protective mechanism. And then down the track...
Oh, yeah, you walk through your life.
You're 35, and then literally that entity almost... Which you can't really... I mean, there may be techniques to get rid of them, which is probably a really, really handy thing.
It's called exorcisms.
Yeah, pretty much. I was banging on about the entities that you create within your body, which are a physical...
the exorcism.
Yeah, almost like a physical framework that you kind
Protector, yeah.
You basically... you put that cloak on to protect yourself
from the trauma happening again.
Yeah, when you said
Which
almost
is just
regress.
a perceived trauma, which doesn't never happen.
No, and that was a tactic that worked when you were 5.
Right.
It doesn't work when you're 35, you know?
Right.
Hey, can we talk politics?
Sure.
What do you where do you want to start?
Well,
because I'm fascinated with...
basically my position is I'm a libertarian. I think we should keep the government out of our lives. Now, having said that, the reason that laws and governments are developed is because people don't do what they know is right and it encroaches on someone else's rights. So, I believe in less government because I think that it's not I'm a free market capitalist. That free market capitalism is, although faulty, is the only system which rewards you for your hard work. And basically, this fight or flight thing makes us resistant to change and makes us trying to find ways to avoid expending energy, which is a strange paradigm because in doing the work, it's energizing in overcoming the resistances within ourselves and overcoming the mental mind that tells you it can't be done, it's too hard, or this is going to happen, that's going to happen. The predictor of the future is always the lie. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen in the future. And if they tell you it, they're lying.
Say that again. The predictor of the future is always the lie. You want to expand on that?
Yeah, the future is unknown to all of us. No one has any idea what's going to happen in the future.
Oh, I mean, anyone who thinks that they can tell
Anyone
you.
that's telling you what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I mean, you're saying to me of our so-called appointment at 10 a.m., first of all, it didn't happen. I'm not saying it should have. That's what I was saying to you when you made the appointment. It's like, okay.
You know, I did that on purpose just so that we could have this conversation as an example.
Yeah,
I knew.
No, but the point is, it's like, I know I didn't believe you to say, like, you're going to be here at 10. That's why when you're apologizing, it's like, I never believed it. Because I know no one knows what's going to happen in the future. You could have gotten in an accident on PCH. There's all kinds of mishigosh that happens between what your well-laid plans are and what the universe is actually going to allow you to do. So being in alignment with the intuition and being in alignment with what is supposed to happen is where my goal is, to be intuitively where I know that's right for me to be.
So say I couldn't give a shit and I just was, say that was, or a person had said, I'm going to be there at 10. I just want to explore this because...
For clarity.
For clarity. Well, also, I struggle with it, but I... Now I'm going to cough. Say someone was coming here at 11 and you knew you have to be with that person at 11. Not had to be. That was the plan. That was what was kind of laid out for your day. And you somewhat planned your day knowing, well, they're going to be here at 10 and that's all you know. And me going, just turning up at 10:30 because I couldn't give a fuck. I didn't get here. No, I've got to be late and she'll be right. And you've only got half an hour because someone else is coming. And that pushes everyone that back and you back. I'm not saying...
Me back?
Right. Well, you might have had some other stuff you needed to do today. But that kind of somewhat inconvenienced you. But then again, it's something being an inconvenience or not is a choice, I guess. Is that what it's about? The choice is
The question is,
this is a
do
delicious
you know
peach,
what's going to...
by the way.
Isn't it great? It's
Oh, so good.
white peach.
Where's that from?
Low acid Frog Hollow Farm.
Yeah,
Frog
thank you.
Hollow.
Thank you, Frog Hollow.
Farmer Al.
Ow.
Probably one of the best farmers in California and probably the United States.
Frog Hollow, be right there.
Yeah,
Frog
Frog
Hollow.
Hollow.
Oh, we'll do show notes too. response to that.
Your idea is that you have a schedule. That schedule interferes with you doing what you know is right.
What if I put that schedule together based on what I thought was right?
You don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's a lie to say you know what you're going to do.
No, I wouldn't go into it knowing what's going to happen, but having a plan of how I'd like to spend my day to do
Well, that's because
what is right in that day, that I felt was right to do in that day.
No, because doing what you know is right is intuitively being led in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way it can evolve. I mean, normally I'm not here on Fridays. The intuition usually leads me to go to where my accounts are. So it's not a question. I don't think about it. People ask me, are you coming? I have no idea. I know the folly of my planning. It just interferes with me being able to do what I know is right. Now you got some obligation. Now you've given your word to things. I don't give my word in the future because it is a promissory. It's a promissory commitment, and it's a lie because I don't know what I'll be able to do.
So I could have got here at 10:30, and you mightn't have been here.
Correct.
And then what? Then I would have gone, Karen.
Or you would have.
I totally understand. I will.
No. Do you get it? No.
I do. My wife.
Now you're gonna get upset.
My wife. No. I'm not.
No, but I'm saying that's the trap.
Yeah.
Frustration because it doesn't work out the way you planned. It's the biggest thing that people will tell you. You said, you planned, you made a commitment. When I say things, when people ask me about things, it's like, sure, let's play it by ear. How does it work? That's why when you said to me, see you tomorrow, whatever, it's like, there is no future, grasshopper.
I mightn't be here. I mightn't have woken up.
Huh?
I'm really glad I did. I said I mightn't have woken up this morning.
That's the truth.
Let's get on to politics. Talking about
politics.
Talking about
Yes,
not
less
waking.
government.
Let's talk about not waking up.
I'm talking about less government. Look at what they did in Australia during COVID. The biggest tyranny, overreach of any government anywhere.
So
I'm talking about free government, democracy, supposedly in Australia.
So you saw all that. You got wind of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't know how the rest of the world kind of viewed all that.
Well, I mean, I grew up with Robert Kennedy Jr. My family is cousins with him. So it's like I have for a long time, he and I were the two. There's another woman, Jessie Shepard. She was pretty organic. And Louise O'Neill. She was organic in Hyannisport. But beyond that, we were the only organic. I was doing organic farming 35 years ago in Hyannisport. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. was dealing with 4 children who had asthma. It's craziness. 4 children having asthma. So the point is that he was aware of what the poisoning of our country and our children was happening then. And of course, it was in Hyannisport that famous mother came into town with boxes and boxes of research about vaccine damage that happened to her son. And she said, I'm not leaving Hyannisport, Bobby, until you read this information. And luckily, trained as a lawyer, he could read these scientific papers. He was the one that got Monsanto to pay for these cancers. I have a farmer right now. She's 75 and she has terrible cancer. She's in for treatments and chemotherapy all the time. She was a Monsanto rep. She was teaching people how to use glyphosate, Roundup.
As part of her job, she would literally go out there and mix it up and
she got a settlement. But what good is a settlement?
Yeah. It's not going to give you your life back, is it? Years of your life.
Or your health.
No.
So, I saw early on that this was a money grab. that this pharmaceutical industrial complex and the military industrial complex that was involved with the government was unethical and evil.
Oh, are you the COVID thing? Is that what you're referring? I mean, there's a lot. It's the latest.
Look at the Qatar incident.
What's that one?
Polio vaccine.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Killed millions of babies. And that's where they started with the HIV linked to the same. I mean, it's sick what we've done. And the fact is that Fauci has profited, as have all those people who have worked in the government. It was a terrible thing. And they also have covered up all the information about the non-natural electromagnetic fields. Mm-hmm. They've covered up the non-natural electrical magnetic fields, and we as humans are electromagnetic. There's a great book called The Body Electric by Dr. Becker in the 1950s and 60s. And they did all kinds of studies in cell phones. The U.S. military did the studies on the cancers that were linked to the radio transmission and to the cell phone technology. And what did they do? They ignored it because the telecom industry, that's the third industry that's profiting off of the government and support in bed with the government.
So those, just let's recap, Big Pharma's one.
Military, industrial. How many wars do you think we should be supplying all over the world to kill young men?
Well,
ridiculous.
So military industrial complex, Big Pharma,
the pharma industry,
Big Ag.
The Big Ag.
Well, there's three. And what was that one? Oh, Big
Ag is the subsidies, and then the telecom industry.
Telecom being the electrical.
Yes, the head of the FCC, who allowed all of the cell phone towers without overriding the approval. And there's this Chevron law that the Supreme Court just overturned. We need to go back to that law with the FCC being able to put in cell towers wherever they want to, and municipalities having to capitulate to the federal mandate. And now he's working. Now he and his son, that same senator who pushed that bill through, I think he's from Tennessee, are now working in the federal FCC telecom industry.
Most of them do, don't they? They do their job for the.
Oh yeah, they come in and then
when they're there, and then they get the big salary
they
job.
Become a lobbyist for millions of dollars.
So back to, is there and big oil? Do they sit there in there as well? I mean, they're the ones that buy up all the. I'm so not a big fan of electric cars. That's a whole other thing. But like the hydrogen engine, that's another scam. Absolutely. The oil industry have bought up all of any technology that looks like it's going to compete with oil in terms of propulsion.
There is nothing that's going to compete with oil at this point. Wind doesn't work.
No, not some of the renewables, but say, there's engines that run on water.
I agree. Hydrogen engines.
Hydrogen.
Yeah. No, that needs to be.
They get bought up and then.
It's just the whole thing about having the politics in corporations. It needs to be out. And that's why you're finding this gravitation. See, people don't understand that our elections in the states have to do with economics. And so when the Midwest states were suffering because of the policies of the Democrats, under Obama.
Is that from a rural point of view? Like, is it more agriculture policies?
Coal industries, oil industries, the Midwest, where they're dependent upon jobs and then
industry.
And then, Donald Trump came in and won, and they were shocked. I was surprised myself, and I realized it's all about economics. So now we've got huge inflation, and diesel gas the price of gas is a joke, and it has been. And they've taken everything offshore. And Donald Trump has come back in. It's my prediction that he will win. Mm-hmm. And it's all economics. And it's
people
all
have
treaties.
Had enough.
They've had enough of the incredible inflation. They had enough of the prices of obviously of gas and these economic policies where U.S. is last, and whether Donald Trump can see through with his promises, that it's a better option. In my opinion, Bobby is the best option because he knows how to disable these industries. And
for those who don't know much about him,
yeah,
and it's interesting that a lot of the people we've talked to randomly, whether it's a waiter or a cab driver,
yes,
either say, "Oh, isn't he the guy who got brain damage?" Or, "Oh, no, he's a Kennedy, and that's not going to cut it." Like, or they just don't even know who he is.
Right. Well, he's been, that's the other thing, the censorship.
Yeah.
The industrial media, the complex as well. The media is in bed, and that's what's happening in these House hearings. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're going through the censorship. How President Biden was contacting Facebook, and the media companies are telling them what truth should be told. Well, that's totally anti-American censorship. So these are the cornerstone issues, I think, that will be played out. And I think that the attempted assassination showed us like how ridiculous the government is. And even if it was a plot to kill him by inside the government or whatever, the Secret Service didn't do their job. And the job they did was just such a joke. It shows you what's wrong with government. You have absentee landlords running it and no accountability and huge budgets that they're going to spend even if they don't need it. That's the problem with government or socialism, is that in the free capitalist market, there's an incentive. If you don't watch your money, then you're going to be out of business. But in the government, it's like the endless well.
I was listening to Tucker Carlson yesterday because he was in Australia about a month ago. He loves Australia. I think it was the first time he'd been there, but he just said he was fascinating because his observations were spot on. And in light of what you've just said about government and who's in there and why and what they're doing,
yeah,
he said one of your parties is in Australia is the Labor Party. Now, not one of them has a trade. Right, the Labor Party, the working party. None of them have ever generally worked outside of politics. They're not on the ground. They're not coming from that background. They're there.
Correct.
They're on the take.
Correct.
And
that's why a lot of the entrepreneurs and small businesses like Donald Trump, and that's why a lot of industry likes Donald Trump, because he has done it. He's has had payrolls.
So your intuition, can I say that, is that Donald he'll get up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bobby will be on his team. He'll be on Team Trump. There's talk of him being the Attorney General? No, what do you call him over here?
Yeah, the Attorney General of some capacity. The thing is, Donald and Bobby spoke before his first election. And Donald was going to appoint him as the vaccine czar. Before COVID.
Overseeing the whole vaccine show.
The NIH.
Yep.
That was before COVID.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he backed away. You know why?
Who backed away from who?
Donald Trump backed away from appointing
Bobby
because his handlers told him that the pharmaceutical industry would pull back their support.
Yep.
And so look at what happened.
Yep. But what's he gonna do now though? Like if there's talk,
I don't think he's a lame duck president after he gets elected. So he doesn't care about what kind of support the pharmaceutical industry will pull back.
Yeah.
And they'll be held to pay, because if he does it right, they're going to disable that connection between. I mean, what Fauci did, you know what he did, right? They were doing that mRNA technology, or the
gain of function stuff.
The gain of function stuff. And Obama told them to stop it. Obama did.
That's right.
And they farmed it out to the universities and some military bases. an end around.
Didn't it go, it wasn't one of those military bases, or didn't some of that technology get it's such a dog's breakfast to the Ukraine?
I heard to the Ukraine and to China.
The plot.
To China.
The plot thickens.
Rather to China.
I know. But didn't
is there anybody in the world that deserves less of our money than China?
And then didn't Fauci
a communist
approve
state where they just slaughtered any protest, they slaughter their censorship, they're doing facial recognition, and if you haven't had a vaccine, they're going to put you in jail. And we are doing gain of function research and in bed with the Chinese.
And didn't Fauci approve funding that he shouldn't have because he didn't have the authority, but he did?
Correct.
Is he going to be a fall guy? Because I was listening to something the other day, and they go, he's in the spotlight. Someone's got to take the hit, and it's going to be him because there's just too many. If he doesn't go down, then others will. And
it's very evil what they did, and Rand Paul is all over it. Yeah,
he's great, isn't he? He's awesome.
I hope he doesn't get
disappear.
An attempted assassination attempt.
Is he, excuse my ignorance of American politics, is someone like him, or maybe specifically him, is he like presidential candidate?
Yeah, I would say.
Material, but down the track. He's got to earn his...
No, he's been around for a long time. I don't know if he wants it.
He's a doctor, right?
He's a doctor.
He knows what
His
he's
father
talking
was
about.
also a senator, Ron Paul. And he's been on what a gift he is.
Yeah. Well, he calls them out.
That's what I'm saying.
And he knows what he's talking about. He can have those conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is pretty handy.
And he's so great with truth, over and over again.
Yeah. Well, he's like a dog with a bone, isn't he? He just hammers. So Fauci will...
Now he's got Fauci on record lying.
Yep.
And then they found this, what they did was so sneaky. They called it gain of function. I think they put something with dollar signs in it. They had a nickname for it. So if they searched the emails...
It wouldn't come up.
It wouldn't come up.
That's right.
And they found it, of course. Just like this kid, apparently they that assassination, the attempted assassinator, had someone in his purview had visited to somewhere near the FBI building in Washington. So the truth always comes out. But this corruption's got to end. It started in the 60s when they took down Nixon, and I think a lot of it was Nixon was framed. But we'll see. There's a great guy who I listened to about this. Bobby Kennedy did a podcast with Rick Rubin and Jack Cruz, Kruse. Rick Rubin is probably the number one music producer, and it's Bobby, Dr. Jack Cruz, who was there in Louisiana during a lot of the after effect of the polio vaccines, and then Rick Rubin. He's got that podcast called Tetragrammaton. They're all in the same.
Oh, so whose podcast was it on?
Rick Rubin's.
He had
Bobby
and Jack
Dr.
there.
Jack.
Okay, awesome.
And Rick Rubin has another great podcast with Andrew Huberman and Dr. Jack Cruz and Rick Rubin on Tetragrammaton, I think it's called, right? Tetragrammaton? That's Rick Rubin's podcast.
I don't know. Any other comments on politics before we leave that one?
Well, we get the government we deserve.
Yeah, if we put up with it.
Put up with it.
Yeah. And
we
don't
encourage a value system. Shutting down the businesses during COVID. It's like, how many businesses are really lost? So many restaurants, so many small businesses, so many people who have put their life into things. It's gone. There's no one that's out there standing up for that. Maybe the Donald will. I don't know.
But was that all part of the plan? It was
yeah, of course.
Too many businesses are thriving. We want to actually it's all part of compliance and all part of depopulation. It's all
compliance is the word.
Yeah.
You can get them to comply, to believe the lie. I did not vaccinate my children 35 years ago.
So you knew that all that time ago? Yeah?
Well, if you do the research. Now, the thing is what Bobby is getting the pharmaceutical companies on now is fraud. There was a law, Ronald Reagan put it in place, that there was prosecutorial immunity for pharmaceutical companies. But they had to disclose all the evidence, all of it, all the scientific research on the whatever they were ministering, including vaccine effects and vaccine damage. And they stopped doing that. And because they stopped doing it, see, when I started to look at my children, I think 1986 was the immunity. My son was born in 86 and 89. Well, I did all the research, and the only one that I could feel was okay, and I didn't even feel like they needed it, was polio. Not polio, but what's the one? Rabies.
Oh, rabies, right.
The rabies vaccine. No, we didn't do the mumps.
Mumps, measles,
Diphtheria,
rubella.
pertussin, and tetanus. It was tetanus that I gave to my sons. And the other ones I forego because they were homeschooled. They weren't going into a city environment where there was any threat to their life or they weren't a threat to other people at the time. And the more I went down the rabbit hole of these vaccines, I realized, like, this is a
It wasn't a threat
scam.
anyway. Yeah, right.
We used to have chickenpox parties when I was growing up.
Yeah.
We'd
Who's
have
got 'em?
measles party. Who's got them? Get them over there as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because you need the immune system to be fighting that, because then that's also what's going to fight COVID. Now, the coronavirus was always known as a winter disease. Everyone that gets the coronavirus, the COVID or whatever, has low vitamin D levels, wintertime. So the what did they tell them to do? Don't go to the beaches.
Yeah.
Don't go outside. What the?
Well, but I'm pretty sure they knew all that. I mean, there was ignorance, but there was also, like, I don't know, some people in the mix knew and went, okay, wow, this is cool. Tell them not to do this, not to do that. That'll make it worse.
That's true.
That's all part of it somewhere there.
It's called evil.
It is evil. It's horrifyingly evil. But, I mean, the more you dig, and you don't actually have to dig very far.
No, you don't.
You see, it's all the same shit. It's all the same tactics. It's just, that's a medical tactic. That's an agricultural tactic. That's a, as you say, the electrical
Follow the money.
communication. Yeah, totally. It's all.
But it goes back to the mental constructs, believing the lie or being willing to take a look at the truth. As uncomfortable it might be, the government is not your friend.
But it's easier not to, I'm not condoning it, but it's easier not to look at the truth because ignorance
Just take
is
the jab, and then you're dead.
Yeah.
5 years later, 3 years later.
What's the media doing over here now? Are they because in Australia
How about Jack,
there's a sense of...
Gets vaccinated at the VA hospital and then he ends up with that cancer.
I did see that one.
Jack.
Oh, yes, that Jack. Sorry, I was talking about another
Jack.
report, our Jack.
Our compost Jack comes to me.
I know.
Soon afterwards, I've got this aggressive cancer. And it's the one that's always coming up. But that's his choice. I told him. Can't do anything.
But I guess, his age, the people he was hanging around, I don't know, trust in the medical fraternity.
The VA, they made money off of it.
Yeah. Tell me, talking about bodies, I was listening to Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson on the way up.
Oh, nice.
I think it's like yesterday's interview, it's really fresh. And they're talking about psychedelics. Is that something you know much about?
And as much as anyone knows. I mean, I didn't need psychedelics to wake up. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people can use psychedelics to wake up out of the matrix and the lie. The mental constructs. I think it's great.
It was interesting. They're two smart guys. And I don't know if Jordan's been there, done that, but he gets the mechanism and he gets kind of the value. But it was fascinating how they went back to Joe was saying he firmly believes it's actually it's actually been part of evolution, that we've got to be this, humans and this evolved creature because of our ancestors, like going back many, 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 you pick a number, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. We've seen it help develop us, our creativity. And also in the 50s and 60s, it was around. And then at some point, it was 1972, was it? They basically made it was it a category 1 drug? Or was it in the early 80s? It was interesting because he said in the 60s, the 50s and the 60s and 70s, the world changed. It exploded with creativity and design and all sorts of stuff. And then from about the early 80s, nothing has changed. It was just really interesting that I'd never thought about its impact on, I mean, it's his view on human evolution.
Well, I don't know about how much mushrooms were involved in human evolution, but I know that sunlight increases the dopamine, the serotonin, clarity. You ever are having an issue inside a house, just walk outside for a little while. The laws of nature are pretty clear. And for, millions of years, we were farmers. We were outdoor people. And I think the human spirit is way more powerful than a mushroom. We know when we're doing what's right, and we know when we're not. And following that is the key.
Some people say that it's almost not cheating, but it's almost like it's an easy way to work it out.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, I just hadn't checked it out.
Yeah, come on up. Say that again. The last
I was just saying that some people say it's actually a bit of a cheat's way to get to that point.
Listen, however you get to be able to break out of it.
Yeah, it's got to be a good thing. Now I want to talk before I'm conscious of time and food. Let's get back to food because this is how I got to meet you, your farm, your business. Did you, when the fires went through, did it ever cross your mind that you just went, oh, fuck it, the house is gone?
Lydia, will you show this lovely woman where the cooler is?
I just told her right here, but I'm just checking it out. I've got my daughter in front of me.
Go ahead, say that again. Food.
Did it cross your mind when the fires came through that you might just go, well,
Oh, I just was
it's just easy to stop doing this? Did that cross your mind at all? Or you just went, no, I'm just going to we'll start again?
Well, that's what I was saying to you about the plan. You're given a vision, but you don't know how the intuition is going to guide you to get that vision accomplished. And when you're following this intuition, you know that the plan is tried and true. And as long as I stay true to the intuition, I don't know how it'll work out, but it'll all work out great.
So there was never any doubt.
Well, the doubt is the mental mind. If you're going to have doubt about, if I believe that you were going to be here at 10 a.m. and I don't care. It's just an example of how the mind works. And then I would have been disappointed, but I don't have that. I, didn't know what would happen in the fires. I tried to save the house. I was up on the roof wetting it down, and maybe that was a mental reaction. I saved this area because I sat inside of my tractor, and I just put the embers out with Caesar. And so it was still, I knew and know that whatever happens, I'm going to do what I know is right. And that's going to be the guarantor that things are in my life have been 100% on the right path.
Food industry, your business.
Yeah.
Tell us about that now. Where are you up to with it? How can people who are in this part of the world or this country get to know you, see the work, buy the food, come and visit, all that
I'm
sort
at
of
the
stuff?
Malibu Fig Ranch, and it's at Point Doom. We have biodynamic compost lessons every Tuesday, free. You can come work on the farm, volunteer on the farm, and we have a farm stand that's all of the amazing food that we buy for the chefs. It's all organic and beyond organic. And if you're a restaurant, we sell to the restaurants. If you're a person, we can talk about doing a farm box, but here we are.
And so this is the hub.
We travel from Northern California all the way down to San Diego, finding the best farmers, the best varieties, the best growing practices. And we have the most transparent pricing, and we're the best value that you can find.
And your Instagram handle, or one of them, is
Malibu Fig Ranch.
What Intuitive Forager.
Yeah, Intuitive Forager got hacked, and so I've got to get that back. But yeah, I do have an Intuitive Forager one. I haven't been actively doing it. Malibu Fig Ranch is where I've been.
And so you're a modern day forager, right? I mean, you can literally turn around and forage something in your garden or anywhere.
Yeah, we do.
But you're a forager of other people's gardens.
Yeah, fields, kelp from the sea.
Do you?
Yeah, if chefs want to do a fancy thing, or they ask me to find things, wild, mushrooms and chanterelles and morels and anything.
So you're biological, you're botanical, you're quite botanical, what's what
Yeah.
pretty well.
Oh, 100%.
Is that learnt, or is that just
Well, my first business was Mademoiselle Mushroom, and I had an old mycologist to train me.
Madam, so cool.
But the thing is that then we had a mycelium. Because of the drought for the last 10 years, we've lost a lot of our mushroom mycelium.
You mean the
Fruiting bodies don't come up as much because they haven't had the water. But now, let's see, we had amazing water the last couple of years, so maybe the mycelium will come back.
well, I guess the spores will be there. They just need the right conditions. I've noticed the hills are as green as I've ever seen them.
Oh, yeah, we've had tremendous rain. It's been great.
Fascinating. And it's in summer, which I would have expected to have been bare as a badger's ass and burnt or something. Because when we were here for the fires...
I used to say the brown hills.
The brown hills, that's right. But when we were here 6.5 years ago, that was in winter, in December, in January.
Yeah.
And that was fascinating. It was like a summer in Australia, just burnt.
Yeah.
And then the rain came.
Yep.
And the mudslides.
Yep.
It was nuts.
Because they don't plant when you're not there. When we have the opportunity to plant, we should be planting. These people who are building houses up on these look like Santa Rosa. There was a huge fire in Santa Rosa. So many building structural engineers said, don't build these neighborhoods here because this is a fire zone. It'll just create a whole thing. So what did they do? They built all these neighborhoods, and then they figured out they're all gone.
Because there's plenty that one can do, with fire.
That's fine. That's fine.
Fire retardant plantings, oak trees, deciduous.
Everything.
There's no shortage of
Plants,
information on
period.
that. Yeah, totally.
Oak trees especially, because they don't burn.
That's right.
We have the eucalyptus. Eucalyptus did me.
They explode.
This is it. This whole farm was eucalyptus.
This is the irony.
Because in the 1950s and 60s, it was an inexpensive windbreak.
Totally. Yeah.
This canyon is tremendous wind.
Eucalyptus love it here. Perfect environment for them. Conscious of time, we're gonna wrap it up, I reckon. Anything else you want to touch on? I've really enjoyed this chat, as busted up as it has been. We've changed locations. We've had download, upload issues.
What did you enjoy? What did I bring to the table that was useful
just random
for your
shit.
life?
I always knew it was going to be great. I mean, we had a really good yarn here 6.5 years ago. That's why we dropped in 3 weeks ago, because I'm just thrilled that you were here. And I just knew. My intuition told me. Because you're a bit of a freak in a good way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I love your nature, your spirit. I don't know. You're a nice lady. That's why.
I don't know about being nice. I know that we're here to help each other, but the person only helps themselves too. There's a spirit of openness and open-heartedness that we are supposed to help each other, and And then when the students is ready, the teachers appear. Like we get teachers all day long.
Yep.
We have lessons all day long if you're open to seeing them and understanding.
What have you learned today?
How little the past really. Well, so when you were asking me about the past of my, early childhood and even the fires, it's like distant, which is nice. I don't have any trauma about it, or kind of how it's like I'm talking about another person. I identify so little with the past and just the now of what I'm dealing with now and what's happening within me now and how reactionary I am now. Anytime. My whole thing is about not getting upset and not taking things personally, because it doesn't help me.
No.
It's the voice of the lie, the Prince of Darkness.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're right. The upset is generally because of there was an expectation that wasn't met, and so there's disappointment or anger or
a fight or flight. Threat.
Or just thinking we can control something we clearly can't.
Nothing.
No. There's not much we
You can control your own reactions.
That's it.
You can control your own choices. But beyond that, it's uncontrollable.
We always have a choice. Hey, let's wrap it up. What I do want to do for our subscribers, we have a little extra bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this interview out and have that for them. But also I have a little Q&A. Can we do a quick Q&A? It's about 10 minutes. I've got sort of half a dozen standard questions, which I think will be fun. And that'll be available to our subscribers on a different... They pay me
Great.
$5 or $6
It's great. Patreon.
a month. Oh, it was on Patreon, but we actually sort of found it was a bit hard to... I don't think people were ready for it. I think in the States, for some reason, it seems to work quite well, but maybe Australians aren't used to that kind of tech on their phone, or they're not. It's just one more social media kind of thing. I don't know. We're changing to a different platform. That's all a bit beyond my
purview.
But yeah, it's like, oh my God, one more bit of tech I just don't think I need to know all about, as long as it works.
Sorry.
But I've got a good team. I've got a great team who helps me with that. Karen, it's Owen, isn't it?
Karen.
Owen.
K-E-I-R-E-N.
Oh, Ian.
Karen.
Bloody can't even spell. Is that actually, that's Irish. Is that Irish or Scottish? Irish.
From the village of Kilkerran.
On the west.
Connemara.
On the west, you say on the west coast?
Yeah, near Clifton.
How cool is Ireland? Have you been back?
Many times.
Really? Does it feel like a bit of an ancestral...
My cousins run the seaweed factory there, the kelp factory.
Oh, cool. Is that where you saw some of your stuff? Seaweed?
No, not now, but I have a Santa Barbara farmer that went out and stayed with them and learned all about using kelp for fertilizer.
Yeah, well, that was one of the only, well, not one of the only.
New England.
Yeah.
When the colonists first came.
That's what they had, kelp under the soil.
John Adams.
Yeah.
And fish.
And fish.
They buried the fish.
Do you do any biodynamic preparations with fish here or seaweed? Putting the preps?
No.
I could tell you about that. Off the line. It's great. You just get a drum. You can even get a 20-litre bucket. It's not very much, but and you can get fish or kelp. Actually, if you've got access to kelp, that's probably the best thing to do. Put in a drum full of water. Put the 6 biodynamic preparations in it.
Idea.
But you put it in you get a little ball, say a golf ball size of compost and clay, so it stays together. Put one prep in each ball of the 5, and submerge it, and then you do the yarrow, and not the yarrow, sorry, the valerian, and sprinkle that in. Leave it for a couple of months, then stir it. Leave it for another month or 2, and you'll have this amazing golden syrupy.
Must smell like.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Doesn't matter.
It's the fish. The fish is the one that stinks. You've got to have that debuggery somewhere. You just, but same deal.
I've got manure being delivered, organic dairy manure being delivered next week. I got to put it way off in the corner of the property.
It's raw. It's pretty
raw.
fresh.
It's watery.
What are you going to mix that with?
That's what we make our compost from.
But when do you? At what point do you make the compost? Like, do you let that sit there and let it kind of just sort of?
No, we
Do its own
start
thing.
doing it right away with the waste and the hay,
Yeah.
alfalfa, and our preps, and we do layers
Yep.
every Tuesday.
How do you that compost pile?
We do.
Oh,
windrows.
so you
we
use
do
that.
rows of it.
You do rows of it, yeah. Yep. And then how do you insert the preps individually, or you put the
Put them on the compost pile.
you do a liquid
Yeah, we do this,
to stir, and you put
Stir.
that on as a liquid.
and then we put it on as a liquid.
Because what we also do is put the preps in a little clay ball. Compost pile, say as big as that table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sprinkle, and let it sit there.
That's a good idea too. I think they do that over at Molly and John's farm. What's it called again?
Molly and John.
Moore Park.
I don't know.
The biggest little farm.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to get in touch with them. I was going to go and interview them, but I just couldn't get onto them. I guess they're big and busy. We got great photos of the.
That's another farm that's like Chef Dan Barber's farm.
Ah, yeah.
Well funded.
Yeah. Yes, but that's if
okay.
if people see it, and
Hey. I have no problem.
there's
with it.
there's.
But I'm saying there's a
exposure.
big difference between the choice. I mean, not
Yeah.
really. The intuition guides you, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Look, I think any method, above board, of people can understand and see the benefits and get a bit curious about it. I think that's
great.
got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love your support by subscribing, rating and reviewing The Regenerative Journey on your favourite podcast platform. You help us reach more people and keep the show thriving for seasons to come. Each time you listen, you're choosing to make a positive shift in your own world. And if an episode speaks to you, please pass it on to friends, family or communities who might be inspired too. For more details and episodes, visit www.charliearnott.com.au.